All right, we're back here on another Washington Football Guys episode 33. We survived. We're here.
Man,
What's going on, bro?
to be honest with you, I turned that game off early into the second quarter. I think I turned it off when it
Yeah.
was 28-7.
Mhm.
Not gonna
And you,
lie.
and you know what's funny? So my experience was, obviously, and it's funny because we said before we went on air Sunday, something felt different. It didn't feel like it
It
for some
didn't.
odd reason.
Yeah,
It felt different. With something in the air, I just couldn't. I couldn't. We couldn't. Explain it. It was something different. So I watched the game in the beginning. Obviously, obviously the game was over at the tail end. Heineke threw the interception to Trayvon Diggs. The game was over. That first 3-and-out, us throwing the interception, that was like the backbreaker. Even though at that time it was 0-0.
yeah.
And it just got ugly from there and went downhill. Caught the game, and I don't know, for some bizarre reason, I must be a glutton of punishment. So at halftime, I was like, all right, because we got the ball back the first half. So I was like, the second half, I was like, all right, we got to score on this one. If they don't score, I'm cutting this off. Obviously, they didn't. So I think I was flipping between at this because we got the 10 o'clock news. So I watched some of the 10 o'clock news, and then for some odd reason, someone wanted me to come back. I came back, it was 56-7. I was like, oh my God. I was like, all right. So then I still continued to watch. And then after John Bates scored, that's when I like, all right, it's over. Like, And and the funny thing about it, so this is what I was doing at the time. This was like the second quarter. This is right before. So I was actually listening to our guys ref the district. They have a live stream, right?
Mhm.
So the biggest play of our defense, the campaign, the, uh, Payne and Jonathan Allen, a little scuffle on the sidelines. That was probably by far the biggest defensive play that we had in that game. And I remember when they talked about it, and they were saying, "Hey, this is gonna be probably the biggest story that's gonna come out of this game." And yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately,
It,
it was. And so
it
it was
was.
just a really ugly night. Like, this is one of those nights I was like, you know what? I just couldn't. I couldn't take it. I ignored the chat. I was like, no, I couldn't. I can't even
I
even
muted it
have my phone. I turned. I didn't even look at my phone.
because
It was that bad.
I can do it for I guess Apple's. I can snooze those notifications for an hour
Mm-hmm.
and had to do that every hour.
Mm. I know you can snooze it for like 24 hours too. I think on Android, but I like even with that, I'm like, I don't want to hear nobody a mess because that. I mean, when you get beat that bad, you take that shit personal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's to a point where it's like I can't say nothing because it's like, dude, we getting beat, almost got beat by 50 points. What I'm gonna look like, looking like a fool trying to fit in this team? No, I'm just that's that's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna be that idiotic and think and vouch for this team. But it just got ugly. But we definitely got to address the elephant in the room with you know Payne and Jonathan Allen. Your thoughts on that? on the biggest defensive play for that in that game?
I wish they had that same passion on the field that night.
Yep.
But in all jokes aside, it's at first it was one of those things that a lot of people who play football and sports in general will tell you, um, they're they call each other brothers, which for all intents and purposes they are. You go to fight for these guys, every Sunday. So there, for all intents and purposes, they are brothers. And it was one of those, brothers fight. That's what they do. I fight with my brothers. Everybody who has brothers, they fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but then, um, and then I even put we posted the poll earlier today. Deron Payne went and deleted all his Washington football stuff off his IG.
Yep. Yep.
So it doesn't say that he plays for us anymore. He doesn't has nothing to do with Washington.
Yep.
And so if you haven't already, definitely go check out that poll on our Twitter at WF
Yeah,
Guys. Is it something or nothing? I definitely do think it's something.
yeah,
It's not one of those. I don't think this is going to be one of those things that he can return from, because here's the thing: I don't care who you are, and I saw on Twitter that night that Jonathan Allen, people saying that Jonathan Allen is a captain, he shouldn't be acting like this, and it's on him. And but you put your finger on somebody's head, on another man's head like that.
yeah,
If they don't retaliate in any sort of physical way, then that that says something about them. I don't care
right,
who you are. I don't care how big you are, how strong you are, who you are. You put your finger on my head as a grown ass man, I'm swinging on you on
right.
site. No hesitation. Shout out Kenneth. Yes, we are live this time. I
Yes,
know
we're
it's not
live. Yes,
Friday.
yeah,
It's not Friday. We're doing it Thursday night because I got
Chris.
real life tomorrow. Um, but it's definitely one of those things that I think it's something. I think that he's gonna ask for a trade in this
Yeah,
offseason, which it sucks to lose that kind of talent, but
yeah,
he's gonna we're gonna be able to garner a lot of trade assets for him. And it's not
yeah,
like he's the only piece on our defensive line. We still have Jonathan Allen, we
right.
still have Montez Sweat, Chase Young comes back next year. Matt Ioannidis is still there. Um, James Tui is he's looked really good in the times that he's played. Looked really good earlier this year. So our defense, I wouldn't mind losing him for getting, a couple picks, a first and a third, something like that, or getting some type of return on investment for him. But I do definitely think it's something.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you said, we this happens all the time. And like I mean, it is to a point where normally these things happen like in locker rooms, training camp fights. Usually these blowups don't happen on a Sunday night football game where everybody in America is watching. So I think that's kind of heightened it. And what I found really, really funny was the narrative was, like you said, Jonathan Allen swung on Payne. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, he he was an agitator,
Yeah,
so you look at from that situation. If you put, like you said, if you put a hand in my face, I'm going to react, because first of all, I'm already am getting embarrassed in this game. It was at that time it was 28-7.
mhm.
And so you get to a point and Duran is just in your face and he's putting a finger in your face, and I'm thinking to myself, yo, I'm already on edge. And then you're gonna have that, and you just and like you said, the narrative was, oh, he's your captain, he's the Walter Payton Man of the Year for the Washington football team, regardless of who he is. And even like you said, I don't care who you are. And then even got to be football. This is
Yeah,
this is life. Let somebody put their hand in your face. You are going to retaliate because that's unnecessary. So, and like for
exactly.
that situation, and I definitely think, yeah, and it's funny because even people are talking about Duran being out. Even Monday, people was talking like you said, and then even like we talked about the social media. That's usually a telltale sign when guys want to leave. They delete all their, and it's weird that in 2021 and beyond, we look at those as clues. And that's why I said, that's why I tell people football is a microcosm of life. That's just like we always know. And Rob, you're a married man, so I'm gonna speak for myself when it comes to being a single guy. So if I see a woman with, that she has pictures with her significant other, or boyfriend, or whoever, and she deletes that, oh, she's
Oh,
single.
it's fair game.
Fair game, correct, correct.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think right. So I speak for myself on that one there. Um, but in all seriousness, you see that happening. He's out the door, and then I think it's convenient timing, especially with only 2 weeks left in the season, that he would do that, especially when you think about it, because essentially, we'll just keep it a buck. You got 2 games left. Sunday's gonna be the home finale.
Yep.
The Giants is Cancun on 3. So this probably gonna be the last meaningful game that we're gonna play this season. and and we're about 72 hours away from 72 hours away from that game. So I mean, it's a perfect time for him to kind of what they call scrub your social media.
Hmm.
But and then the thing that got me was just like, and I think it was crazy how they really painted that narrative, because especially and even with NBC, I think they kind of did a piss poor job when it came to because it really showed a lot of like of Deron Payne after the fact, as if like he's crying like he's a victim. I'm like, dude, you're the instigator. You're the one who
Yeah.
started this. And they kept on looking at him, and like he looked all like he's about to cry. He probably he probably was like, I thank God that punch didn't land, because that I was
That would
like,
have hurt.
oh, that would have hurt. I don't know if he would have made it out for real. Because Jonathan Allen, that was some force. That
Yeah.
punch was really, that looked like that could have broke some bones, shattered some blood vessels. Could have really did some damage. But I just said like how people initially, because like, and that's another thing too, where it's like, oh, well, he's the leader of the team. It don't matter who the leader of this team is. You bold enough to do that to the leader of the team. And that's another thing too, where people don't fail to realize that too, because you look at a guy like him. That's why you think Deron's got to go, because the challenge a leader on this team. I know, like we said, he your brother and all this type of stuff, but you just don't do that to a captain of the team.
Yeah.
Like that's like a cardinal sin, especially when you're a guy. Don't get me wrong, Deron is very talented. Don't get it twisted. But certain things, you're not gonna overcome. This situation where you actually went into to the captain of our defense phase and did that. So to me, that lets me know that hey, you don't respect what's going on here. It's a big issue, but it's magnified when you got a situation like we were in and during a game, a primetime game at that, where
Yeah.
everybody in the NFL is watching us. That's
Hmm.
where it's like this the timing. Like it's all fine and dandy. Like when we fought with the Texans in the training camp
Yeah.
7 years ago, who really gave a damn? I mean, and HBO was out there, and then I mean we've always had scuffles. I remember one time, and I remember D'Angelo Hall and who was our tight end? He's currently with us now. What's the dude? Shoot, I cannot believe I'm drawing a blank.
The who?
Remember our old tight end? He was number 82. He had the long flowing hair. Logan Paulson. Logan Paulson. Remember
Mm.
Logan Paulson?
I remember too.
Our tight
Logan Paulson. I
end.
don't remember him having hair.
Oh well, he got hair now.
No, 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 I was thinking of Logan, the white dude, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
he was trash. Oh, I couldn't
but
stand him, bro.
but I remember when they was here, him and D'Angelo Hall got in a fight. It was crazy. But that's another thing too, where that was in the training camp area where no one really cared. Every NFL eyes wasn't watching. This is slightly different. So it's been a lot of fights between that I've not saying necessarily I've witnessed, but I've heard of. But obviously I witnessed D'Angelo Hall and Logan Paulson fight. But yeah, it's just bro, it's just I was like that's sad that in that game that's the most notable thing that can really be discussed in that matchup. It was that bad that a fight on the sidelines was the biggest story.
Yeah,
Nothing game related.
that
But
was
yeah,
terrible.
yeah. So we had to address the elephant in the room. We don't run away from these type of things. So we did address that game that happened on Sunday. I think I lived under a rock. So
Yeah, I
I
literally I
tried
changed
to.
I changed it and I went into something and came back into the room and her wife was like, "The game's over." I was like, I mean, still time left, but yeah, the game's over. I like I said, I turned it off at 28-7, and then I checked literally like 2 seconds left in the half, and it was 48-7. I was like, "Oh my god,
Yeah,
I'm glad I turned it off."
yeah, yeah. And I came back. It was 50. It was 56-7. I was like, oh my god! Like, are you serious?
It was
This cannot.
terrible.
This cannot happen. So we gotta move on with this one. So we got a good game on Sunday, the season finale, aka I call it senior night.
Home
Last home
finale.
game is our home finale. Well, yeah, that's next week. Mm-hmm. Anyway, a little sad about that, but it's all good. But yeah, the home finale, aka senior night. So yeah, against the Philadelphia Eagles. Your storylines, Rob, in this game. What you got?
It's the same that it's been every week for the last few weeks. It's just staying in the playoff race. Like
Yeah,
I've said before, and I will always have this mindset. I'm not one of the fans that roots for draft position. I mean, right now we're I think at number 9 overall right now in the draft.
yeah,
And it could. I mean, yes, we could add a player to help this team, but ultimately, I am in favor of winning. I'd rather
yeah,
win and fight to try to get that last playoff spot. We need a little bit of help, but if we take care of business to Sunday and next week against the Giants, if a couple dominoes fall with I think like the Niners and the Vikings, and
yeah,
we could squeeze to that 7 seed. So that's just where my mindset is at. Just biggest storyline playoff race, and another thing is Taylor Heineke getting back to what he was through that 4 week stretch.
yeah.
He was playing sound football, getting his mechanics down, and really just playing smart, mistake free football.
Yep. And now with the injury with Jimmy G, Trey Lance is gonna be starting for the pretty much the
Yep.
remainder of their so that really kind of opens up a lot of situations. So yeah, I look at us, last home game, can we become spoiler? Because we can pretty much get rid of Philly in that way, because who's to say? We don't know how, people keep on saying that, next week against Dallas for them is going to be like a gimme, but not necessarily, because Dallas might be fighting for the number one spot. So
Yeah.
they're going to play. So I look at it like this. The first step is, hey, we got to beat this team. Even if it helps us, or if it don't, we this is our final game
Yeah.
of our home schedule. We got to go out with a bang. Like, you have to get up for this game, and even with Ron, even though I really didn't like his post game comments, but I want him to be a man of his word. It's all about what you're going to do after you have a loss like that. So I want him to be, to practice what he preach.
Yeah.
And I want to see this team comes out this week, comes out strong, and understand, hey, and this is where I feel like we talked like this last Sunday, where you had semblances in that first game against Dallas that I think we could have took it full advantage of it in our matchup, but obviously that didn't come to fray. And the same thing goes for here, where I think we had a legitimate shot to beat them 2 weeks ago, and now we're healthy. We still got some injuries, obviously, but we're a lot more healthier in areas that I think that if we would have had these guys at full strength, it could have been a different story. But that too, and just rebound off this Dallas loss, and you do have a shot to make the playoffs. And certain things might work in your favor. I think the Jimmy G thing kind of had me like, okay, well, there's still a chance, because Trey Lance at this point, what we seen, obviously, I think the only time we really seen it was in against Indianapolis in the rain in October. He looked horrible, like
Yeah.
he didn't look the best, and so and so you're hoping that maybe they can drop a game or two and kind of bring us into the fold potentially. But hey, it's the season can still be, we can still finish 8 or 9 and potentially make the playoffs. Because I know I remember saying 8 was going to be the number, but now I'm looking at situations now with San Francisco's situation, New Orleans. You pretty much can stick a fork in them. Obviously, with even with it, Taysom Hill comes back, that's going to be that. And if we can take care and beat Philly, that's all our biggest obstacle. Because
Yeah.
I think next week it's going to be it could be, um, you know, could be a very interesting game, and really for that final week of the NFL season. But yeah, those are kind of the storylines I'm looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the NFL playoff machine. I like to
Mhm.
play around with it a little bit.
Yeah.
So right now, if we win on Sunday, obviously we all think Dallas is probably going to beat the Cardinals. Cardinals don't look like the team they look like the first 6 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
San Francisco is playing Houston.
Ooh.
Houston just put up like 41 against the Chargers
Yeah.
with Trey Lance, and I get Trey Lance was he was a big deal coming out of South Dakota State or North Dakota State rather. Um, but is he going to be able to come in and because again Texans look good. Texans have beat they just beat the Chargers. They beat the
Yep.
Titans earlier this year. So I mean they can play. David Mills has looked very good this season
Yeah.
at certain points in time. So I wouldn't say that's a gimme,
No,
but
not at all.
I still have San Francisco winning that game. Us obviously beating Philly. We got Carolina beating the Saints, which really doesn't matter all that much. Also, Green Bay probably going to beat Minnesota.
Yeah.
And then week 18 have us beating the Giants, Dallas beating the Eagles, and so that right there, with all that combined, puts us at 8 and 9 and with the 7 seed.
Yeah.
And then we would actually end up playing Dallas again.
Bring them on. Bring them on.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't care what these little nefarious Dallas fans will say all they want. Hey, that's good. Hey, go back to Dallas in 3 weeks. I'll take it.
hey,
Because try to beat us 3 times.
it's hard.
You try to do that with the Giants. And look what happened to y'all. So don't get
Hard.
cute. Let this happen. I want this to happen. And I'm telling you, I want this to happen because I oh we need to call Ron up and be like, look, y'all need to win. Y'all need to win because look, we need to go back to Dallas because everybody they were killing us on Sunday, and for us to go back the third week of January and play them, I'm all for that. I am all for that. If we can do that and take care
Yeah.
of business, I would. Oh,
Oh,
that
and
needs to happen.
also San Francisco has the Rams week 18.
Oh yeah, and the Rams
So
fighting for the NFC West.
yeah.
They want to
So
play a home playoff game.
it's and they'll probably be fighting for that 2 seed as well. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of things that can play out right now. Obviously we have to take care of business.
Yeah.
Another thing that I just saw, kind of a storyline. Who's gonna punt for us? Hopefully we don't need one. But Tress Way,
Oh.
the GOAT, just got put on
Oh
IR.
no.
Got put on the COVID-19 list along with
Oh
Samuel Cosme.
shoot.
So
Damn.
a lot of people joke and say Tressway is our best kicker or our best player on the
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Especially of how we're constructed because
yeah,
of how deficient we are as far as on the offensive end. And then that definitely helps. He helps our defense out by having them, by him punting it and punting his long punts and putting these guys inside the 20. I mean, he has the capability to put guys inside that 20. So it's like, if you're gonna score on us, it's gonna be a long sustaining drive, 70 plus yard drive that that you can potentially have on us. And that's so yeah,
yep.
that's huge. Yeah, Trust Wade, that's definitely a huge loss.
It's gonna be interesting if we sign a punter between now and Sunday.
Mhm.
And if I'm sure we will, but
Yeah.
how Ron Rivera is gonna game plan. Because we saw when we lost our kicker against Seattle, there were a lot of times that we went for it on fourth and or we ended up just running on like third and 31, third and two. We didn't get a whole lot, and it was just his whole Ron Rivera was just very very conservative because not having
Yeah.
a kicker it forced him to be. So it's going to be interesting how he games plan around that.
Yeah. And you just like you said, you just never know. But yeah, that's a definitely that sucks. That Trey's gonna be out. Or Trust Wade gonna be out. But yep. So we got our favorite Philly at Washington football team moment. Any ones that comes out that sticks out?
So one comes to mind. The game itself wasn't huge, but in the
Hmm.
grand scheme of things, it ended up to me becoming really big. In 2012, Washington was 3-6 coming off the bye week. First game was against Philly at home and just demolished that team. I think final score was like 36-3. I had it up, but I don't remember what the final score was. But we just completely ran through them. And that started off the 6 game winning streak into winning the division and getting into the playoff game. First division win I think since '99, I believe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I actually got a good one from last year. The home opener in 2020. That was another
Yeah,
game where that was really interesting. Obviously, we had no fans at that particular time. Just the whole circumstance behind it. We were down. It's almost like the reverse of our season opener in 2019 in Philly, where we had that big lead, and then we end up losing in that game. Versus here, where we were behind early and we came back. Just the whole circumstance behind all of it. Obviously, Ron Rivera at halftime was too tired. He had to get an IV. During halftime, and our former first round pick, Dwayne Haskins, gave an impassioned halftime speech that galvanized the guys and led us to a win. As I forgot what did Chris Berman call us? The team formerly known as the as the Redskins, but I don't think he said it like that. But the team formerly known as the Redskins, and he kind of made like a tongue in cheek kind of joke about that. But yeah, that was that was a new era, and that was exciting because to me, at that time we looked at it, especially for me personally, was like, okay, we turned over a new leaf, we got a new name. We're winning games that we normally would lose. We go for it on fourth down. Like what is going on with this team? And obviously, so Ron Rivera's debut as well too. So yeah, but yep, we had a nice taste of Riverboat Ron, in the first game. So that critical, what was it, 4th and 6? I think my memory is correct, and that was one of the reasons why we won that football game.
yeah.
Yep. So in this matchup here, what is your matchups to watch? This Philly versus Washington.
It's going to be in the trenches, offensive line versus defensive line for both sides. Because our offensive line was completely depleted in that first game 2 weeks ago,
Yep.
and Garrett won. We had that, and then obviously Garrett Gilbert was our quarterback. So it was just a recipe for disaster. And on the other side, our defensive line couldn't stop a nosebleed. Miles Sanders ran for I think a buck 48. It was.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I know it was well over 100 yards. He had
Oh
a
yeah.
great running game. And Jalen Hurts, he killed us with his legs as well. We couldn't stop anything. So if our defensive line is able to plug those holes, and again having Jonathan Allen, Jerome Payne for the while that we have him, and Montez Sweat, I think we'll definitely be a lot better than we were 2 weeks ago. And then our offensive line stopping Fletcher Cox and what's his name, the dude from Tennessee.
Oh,
Can't think of his
Barnett.
name. Barnett,
Barnett.
yeah.
Yeah, Barnett. Yeah.
Um, keeping them at bay and keeping Taylor Heineke's jersey clean. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the biggest matchup, Taylor Heineke versus the against the front seven. Because a lot of it too, when I looked at even when Garrett Gilbert played, his biggest issue was not escaping the pocket. I know, like with certain plays that I think Taylor would have extended, not necessarily saying, hey, he would have would have completed some more passes, he'd have been more efficient. But you look at some of those plays where really he had nowhere to go. He was, I mean, they pretty much, it was like almost like created a wall for Garrett Gilbert. Like, he turned one way, then boom, somebody's right there. So, you look at that and just, it's just just very unfortunate, like, as far as that's concerned. So see what Taylor Heineke do. And just can he rebound from last week? Because last week it was a horrible. I mean, his past performances were it was just not the best, and and now then the other question is our defensive line versus their run game, where now you don't have Miles Sanders in this game, so that's another one too, where you look at that as a potential advantage, but also they still got other guys thinking like Boston Scott, the other Howard, how he ran through us as well. A couple plays, a couple big plays Howard had. He gashed us, and like you said, Jalen Hurts. He killed us in so many ways with his legs and and points with his arm. So you know, can we focus on those? As far as those are kind of matchups that I'm really looking forward to seeing, especially now this go round, especially now with with Taylor being there, can he escape and elude Fletcher Cox, Barnett, all those Philly guys. Um, and yep. So let's see what we got here. And X Factor. Oh no, my bad. Keys to win. Yeah,
Oh,
they would
keys
do
to
the
win.
keys to win. Yeah, which I don't know why I didn't delete that one, but yeah, keys to a victory.
Just protecting the ball, just playing smart. Taylor Heineke doing what he did during that 4-game winning streak early in the season. Um, Capitalizing on big plays. You know, I don't know how windy it's gonna be on on Sunday. Um, but Taylor Heineke needs to do a better job of throwing the ball.
Yeah,
That's his biggest knock. Like, don't get me wrong, Taylor Heineke, he's a baller. He fights. He does everything that he can in his power to win ball games.
yep,
But his arm strength, it kills us.
yeah,
You saw it perfectly on that throw to Terry McLaurin, the one that Trayvon Diggs, the Aiden's dad picked.
yeah,
He the thing is, Terry McLaurin had like a solid like maybe 7 to 10 yards of space between him and the sideline. That if Heineke would have just thrown it closer to the sideline, it would have been an easy catch,
yeah,
especially for somebody like Scary Terry.
yep,
But underthrew it, then didn't have the arm strength to get it out, get it to the outside, and ended up being a pick. And that was pretty much where I kind of figured that we didn't really have a chance that game.
yeah,
But just
yeah.
Taylor Honey needs to do a better job of protecting the ball.
Yeah, that was ugly. That was ugly. And like you said, if it was a regular throw, shoot, Terry would have been gone.
Yep.
That'd have been, And I wanted it, so I guess Taylor's gonna be on a list now, for getting a card, huh? It's too late to give him a card, like you get other quarterbacks and say, hey, thanks for throwing it to my dad.
Uh,
So like, hey, I think Taylor gonna get one of them if he ain't got one yet. There's a lot of things I think that this team, and it just what I find so funny about all this is like it falls on deaf ears because every week, like even like with Dallas, we said the same thing: control the tempo. That was a perfect opportunity. They set the tone early with a 3-and-out, and then you're gonna throw the turnover. We always said in these games, don't turn the ball over, especially for a team like this. A team, and like we said, that was the biggest issue. Don't turn over the ball. Then on our side on defense, we need to force turnovers, just like we did 2 weeks ago against this Eagles team. Landon Collins, with his miraculous interception, the I guess what you call that, the back of the back of the foot
oh, the
interception.
pop up the hill, yeah.
Popped up the hill. And then the fumble recovery as well. You need to force some turnovers. Like I think, like you look at how and you see how in that game we went out to a 10-0 lead. So you look at those type of situations, you want to control the tempo. So these are the type of things that you really want to do. Um, Now, this is where I think we always talk about the run game, but then a part of me is like maybe they're abandoning the run because of just the health of Antonio Gibson. So a part of me is like, I don't want to give Scott Turner a pass, but it's got to be some kind of way where he need to get his running game going, regardless or who is healthy and who's not, because I think that's going to be part of our biggest issue. So I'm hoping that Antonio Gibson is good, because I know he was limping a lot in that Dallas game. So
Yeah,
we're gonna see it. That
Scott Turner needs to. I'm in the camp of Scott Turner needs to go. He
yeah,
abandons the run game way too quickly. That's a
yeah,
We have two really good backs. We have Antonio Gibbs and Jarrett Patterson right now. Jaden McKissick is supposed to be back next week, I believe, against the Giants. Um, but for some reason, for Scott Turner, it seems like two bad run plays of a gain of 1 or less yards, and he's completely abandons the run game and then makes Taylor Heineke one dimensional. And you can't do that. Taylor Heineke is, as much as Scott Turner wants Taylor Heineke to be somebody like Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers or Justin Fields,
yeah.
he's not.
It's
Stop
not.
trying to make Taylor Heineke something he's not. You need to help him. That's your job as an offensive coordinator, is to help him.
Yeah.
You clearly cannot do the job when faced with adversity. So just gotta go, and hopefully the Rams have a monumental collapse and we can get Sean McVay back as
You know
OC.
who I really want, and I don't know if, I would assume, I think he could be potentially available. You know what I want? I want Pep Hamilton. He's
That wouldn't
he's
be
at
bad.
Houston. He's at Houston. I've seen what he's done. Obviously, with Justin Herbert last year. Even look at what Davis Miller's doing this year.
Yeah.
You give him credit that. Cardell Jones in the XFL, because Cardell Jones was damn near an MVP candidate. Not saying he was going to be the MVP of the XFL, but he was an MVP kind of guy. Other guys he's had like Andrew Luck, and this is more so for the guy that we're going to draft in 2022. Because I think we definitely need to get some new blood as far as offensive coordinator. And I know how Ron is really loyal to people, but a part of me at the end of the day, it's about winning football games. You can be
Yeah.
loyal all you want to. Loyalty is gonna get you fired. Loyalty is gonna get you out the door.
Yep.
One of these following Black Mondays may not be, the 10th, January the 10th of this year. It might be in 2023, 2024. So, like you said, I think they need to get rid of Scott Turner, like you said. And that's the thing where it's like this is the thing, like you said, you have to put him in positions, and I think what he does, especially when they're down, that he just want Taylor to throw forever. And I'm like, no, some case, even if you're down 7-0, you can still establish that run.
Yeah.
You can still do certain things. But what happens is it keeps going and keep going. The league just gets bigger and bigger, and then he just throws more and more and more. And it's just like he's not built for that. Like we always say with Taylor Heineke, he's a backup quarterback at best. He's a guy that, if, say for instance, you have a starter, your starter missed about a month, he can keep it afloat for about 3 weeks. You
Yeah.
might have one bad game out there 4 week period, which is fine. You can go 2-2, 3-1 with Taylor Heineke for like a month or a month stretch. But for him to have a 17 game season, you look at what's going on. Like you think about it like this: if we had Ryan Fitzpatrick, and this is all being theoretical, and he got hurt Halloween, and he won't be back until the Cowboy game, December the 5th or whatever day that was. Taylor Heineke comes in, Tampa wins, Carolina win, Seattle win, Oakland win, and then whoever comes back is his the QB1 comes back after that.
Yeah.
That's how you would kind of utilize him in that predicament, because people ask me as far as if he's a franchise quarterback for this team. No, maybe for somewhere else. I can't really determine, but I think here, no, not with what we got here. He needs more. He would need more weapons for him to even be considered that. But that's the issue, and I think, like you said, Scott's got to go. Scott's vanilla, and to a point where it's just like we kind of like it's predictable. He's predictable, and it's like, just imagine if We seeing it. Just imagine like how defensive coordinators
Yeah,
who actually evaluate film to the T that actually goes back and look at film and see that type of stuff, and it's like this is easy. This is this is like taking candy from a baby. Defensive coordinators is like this is what y'all doing. So yeah, Scott Turner, he's got to go just for the sake of the new quarterback that we're going to get this year. Because we got to start off fresh. We got to get somebody who actually can help this quarterback, that we're going to get next year, and bring him along and actually have a franchise quarterback for the first time in what 10 years.
yeah.
So yeah, yeah. It just
But
sucks.
it is going to come down a lot to who we end up picking in the draft. Right now, it's slated for number 9. A lot of people have us taking Matt Corral out of Ole Miss, which I'm not a fan of for
Neither.
lots of different reasons. But I don't like that pick at all.
I
I
don't
think
either.
personally, not to get sidetracked, but I think trading down into maybe 12 to 15 range to get Malik Willis, I think is a little bit more. I would
Yeah,
be happier with that.
yeah,
Um, but it all depends. Again, who depends. It depends on who we draft this year. If we draft anybody, and
yeah.
getting somebody to. If Ron Rivera really thinks that Scott Turner can what's the word I'm looking for, develop this kid, then I mean we'll see. They were a package deal coming in. They'll probably be a package deal leaving as well.
I don't think so. I like you said, I don't like Mekara either. Like you said, this I think we have. I think we have multitude of reasons, but I think there's one common denominator. But we won't say that out loud. But, uh, but I mean, hey, it is what it is. It's just we keep it a buck here, and we know. But anyway, so I want us to trade down as well. Now that knife, I don't like that. Um, Actually, the guy who I want, and like you said, it's just a bias. It's just a personal bias of mine. Sam Howell. I think I like him. He's kind of like a Baker Mayfield esque type of guy. Like as far as a guy who I think, well, he's more of a now, but now he's more of a from. He's more got religion. He's a spiritual man at this point. So he's not like the Baker attitude wise, like maybe more so of just the kind of the personality, kind of the swag, like
Yeah,
Baker Mayfield. I know one thing, he's a tough guy. Obviously, he's tough as nails. UNC all time leader and so many different passing categories. Hopefully, he can wake up the army because that's
yeah.
another one Instagram post.
That's
I
and
don't. That's so disturbing to me.
and the thing is, like, it's we have so much talent at the wide receiver position.
Yeah.
So many fast guys. We
Yep.
are a deep threat team without a quarterback who can throw the ball deep.
Right.
That's what's killing us right now. If
Right.
we had a
And it's
quarterback with an arm, man, I'm not saying
yeah.
we'd be undefeated, but we'd be in a hell of a lot better position. We wouldn't have got beat 56 to nothing on Sunday night. That's for sure.
No, not at all. And that's a thing where you look at just like you're saying, you know, and with Taylor is hit or miss. Like and it's funny because I swear to you, when we talk because remember I said he gonna try to test Diggs. And it's funny this the first play because I was like, bro, like, are you serious? Like, let that man kind of get a little lather off. You know what I'm saying? Not the first pass play. I was like,
Yeah.
because I knew, because I'm telling you that, because that I'm telling you that Cam Sims play, I like watch. He gonna go for broke because he seen that. But we all know, like in theory, it was a great play,
Yeah.
but it could have went Trayvon's way
Yeah.
big time. So I knew he was. I'm like I, and that's why like another thing too when it comes to that decision making is like he's the ultimate gambler. Like like to me that play against Cam Sims, I threw all my chips in and I won. but then now I got a bucket of chips, and I'm gonna go it again and lose all my money. That's how I felt with that play. Like, and it's funny because I said in the pregame, I was like, Trayvon, he gonna try to test Trayvon, and lo and behold, that second play, he he should, he shouldn't even do that. I was like, come on, man, like really, I knew he was gonna do that. But yeah, and that's why I'm like you said, if because that's why a part of me is like, yeah, I think he do need to get rid of Turner because now we got another quarterback coming in this phrase, so we need to get him. We need to get him the right coaching that he needs. We need to find somebody, and
Yeah.
yep. So now what we got is predictions. Who you got?
So it's hard for me because I don't know which Taylor Heineke we're gonna get. I don't know how effective Antonio Gibson is going to be, but I do still think our defense is going to be able to hold Jalen Hurts to a lot less yards than what he got, 2 weeks ago. So I think it's still going to be a relatively low scoring game. I'm going to say it's going to be 23-20. So 23-20, Washington pulls it out and then, sets us up for, you know, a playoff berth essentially on the line in week 18.
Week 18. I'm like, week 18. Hey, we we gonna be flexed out. Gonna be flexed out for that for them Saturday double headers potentially.
I think it's gonna depend on how the rest of the games play out
Yeah,
because you still have. Oh, we might because I'm looking at week 18 lineups. Bengals and Browns. Nope, nobody's watching that. Bengals will probably have the division locked up. Titans and Texans again. You could see Kansas City and Denver in
yeah,
that last game. Oh, you know what? No, you know what's probably going to be the final game? Patriots and Dolphins.
yeah. This probably be that
That's
Sunday
most likely
night.
going to be the last that Sunday night game.
Yeah,
Yeah, I could see us getting. Is there Saturday games that week
yeah,
on the 8th?
because ESPN gonna do a double header, so they're gonna do a
Oh,
4:15 and an 8 o'clock.
yeah, that could definitely be definitely be one.
Yeah, potentially. I know, and it was funny because I kept on like, 'cause I know ESPN kept on advertising. And I'm like, how y'all gonna have the final game is on a Saturday? So then I had to look it up, and I'm like, oh, they just trying to, it just gonna have playoff implications, not necessarily that it's gonna be like the last game. Because I'm thinking to myself, how? But yeah, that's definitely gonna be definitely a very very interesting um matchup as well. So this one, what's going to be? I think we actually going to take care of business. I think we're going to win by the final score of 21-20. I think it's going to be a nail biting game, home game at that. We got to take care of business, and our playoff hopes will stay alive. Um, you know, so this could be a difference between maybe next week. Uh, you know, you know, Cancun on 3 or a first class ticket to Dallas.
Yep.
So hey, so it's interesting though. Yep. So this is actually the final episode of the year of 2021 for the Washington football guys. Uh has been your favorite Washington football team moment of this year, of this calendar year? Now, mind you, this is a
Calendar
calendar
year.
year. Yes, not the season, but the calendar.
See, that's
So
key.
yes,
That's key
big time.
because so I so obviously first thing that comes to mind is the playoff game against Tampa. That was
Yep,
earlier. That was January of 2021.
yep,
How close that game was with Taylor Heineke coming essentially off the street, was working on his engineering degree 3 weeks before that game, getting his first NFL start. Um, so and that dive to the left pylon. is
Yeah.
iconic. That's an iconic play. Nobody can ever tell me otherwise. But a few weeks ago, Kendall Fuller getting that pick against Seattle to secure the
Hmm.
game on Monday night, that's a big moment. I think I think those two of this calendar year, those two are it for me.
Yeah. Um, Actually, the one I think we won the division and at Philly. That game was very interesting. That was the final game of the regular season. At January 3rd of 2021. So that, like I said, the playoff game was, like you said, we, pretty much just doing our thing there. Us beating Tampa Bay after the bye week, that was huge. And then Taylor Heineke's homecoming in Atlanta, winning that game in a gutsy fashion, and then add on top of it a former Falcon and Jaden McKissick making that play. So yeah, those are kind of the key moments that I looked at in 2021. So also before we head out, I actually some stuff too. So I wanted your thoughts on the passing of John Madden.
It was honestly it was shocking when I heard it. John Madden, obviously a legend when it comes to coaching. I didn't know him as a coach. I knew him as a broadcaster. I knew him in the booth when Monday Night Footballs were on ABC. Him and Pat Summerall were a large reason of why I love football to this day.
Yep.
Monday Night Football was something that, and I was fortunate enough to grow up on the West Coast, where our Monday night games were on at 5, over by 8:30. I was still able to get a full night's sleep. But just watching those games on ABC every Monday night, that was obviously the game we talked about last week, the Monday Night Miracle in
Yep.
Dallas. That
Yep.
was a John Madden, Pat Summerall broadcast. And then obviously the video games. He was very adamant when they wanted to partner with him to start a football game. He was very adamant on it being a full simulation game, 11 on 11, actual plays. Like he wanted it done right. And where the franchise, that Madden franchise, has gone, it probably went further than what even he thought could be possible. And what EA has done with the franchise with his name on it is completely abysmal. The game
Yeah.
now is terrible, but just the impact that he's had not only on my life, but a lot of people's lives who don't necessarily play football. They didn't
Yeah.
play on a team, but I bet those people played Madden. I remember my birthday is late September, so that's usually what I could count on getting Madden for my birthday every year, because a month prior, that's when it would usually release, back when it was physical copies. But yeah, just the impact of John Madden as a whole, just on the football world, was, you know, it's indescribable. You can't really put words, you can't put it into words, and you can't value it as,
Yeah.
as a numeric. You can't say what he meant to the game, but he is. You think of football, you hear Madden, you think of football.
Yeah. Big time. And like you said, like we talked about it on Couch Coach Live yesterday, where just the impact is so many generations that were impacted of it. And the fact that the All Madden documentary came out, 3 days before his passing, and I thought that was, it was right on time, because this is a situation where it's a great thing that for a guy of his stature, of his legendary career, that he actually had a documentary that gave him his flowers. So he can, everybody, even who was a part of the documentary, can have solace in the fact that, hey, I gave him his flowers. I gave him his flowers while he was alive. And like you said, the impact broadcasting wise, just what he was, every major network, CBS, Fox, ABC, and then NBC rounded out. And that time, like you said, I remember him more. So I remember him, like Fox, a little bit, but more so the Sunday night games and the Monday night football games. And those, like we talked about on the show yesterday, those were events. He,
Yeah,
I'm gonna put it this way: it's for my generation, and then generations beyond as well. That was our, that was. that was the prime time event when you had Madden doing his thing, especially him and Al Michaels and them they going back together at NBC at that time. So those are events. I wasn't really around, obviously, with Frank Gifford and Howard Cosell, even though I might look like I was around back then, but don't let the grades fool you. I am young. So, I definitely wasn't around during that, which I know that had been primetime television as well. But for my generation, that has a standard, and that's still the standard to this day, especially with him and Pat Summerall, and like Madden. Like I talked about it as well, where Madden was a situation, a game that we waited out, we camped out at midnight. I mean, up until probably my about early 30s, in my 20s, like every year we would camp out at GameStop and get that game at midnight. That was the highlight of our summer.
Yeah.
Like, and like you said, for a guy, especially a 20-year-old guy in his prime, so many vices and things that go on in a young man's life in his 20s and early 30s. The highlight of a summer is a game is getting Madden, at
Yep.
midnight, at it's on, I guess it's maybe the second or third week of November, not November but August when it came out. I remember it used to be where it was a situation where it came out on Tuesday morning at midnight, but I
Yeah.
don't recall like what it was, either like the second or the third August of each year. So just look at that, and like you said, back then when it was really when it's really the franchise what it really was. Now it's tolerable. I still play Madden. Don't get me wrong, but definitely it's not like how it used to be, especially when Madden and Summerall was on the call, and even the graphics, when the graphics wasn't that bad, was bad. And then I even talked about a story. Remember they had the ambulance. That, if you got injured, the
Yeah.
ambulance to come on the field, and I used to think that was like the most coolest thing. That's the thing where That's when I really like we talking about how you fall in love with the game, because especially when it came to Madden, the football game, it was literally semblance of what you seen, you know, on Sundays,
Yep.
because at that time back then it used to be situations where they would have the ambulance, not like how they do now with the carts and stuff like that. Sometimes the ambulance would be like on the side of the field. They don't come onto the field, obviously, but I mean you see the ambulance kind of right then and there. But yeah, and like his impact was just so and there's so many different generations. Like I was saying, like that I recorded that I DVR'd the All Madden documentary, and I was like, if I was to ever leave Comcast, look, y'all, we're gonna have to do a buyout or something, because I'm gonna have to keep that All Madden. You can't take that away from me. Like like that's gonna be one of the DVR items that I will forever keep, because it just lets you realize just the impact. So many guys who touch his life in so many different generations, even to a guy like a Lamar Jackson, who was a guy that you think to yourself, like he said, look, I wanted to be in the game,
Yeah.
I wanted to be, when I knew it was my time, in college, and knew I was, get ready to go to NFL, like I'm gonna be in Madden, and all these, everybody that kind of talked, everybody that was a part of the documentary, so many different generations that was in that documentary. But yeah, we definitely lost a true legend, a pioneer in the sport.
Yeah.
And he called some great games for us, back in the
Did.
day when when we were good. you know. But also before we head out, I definitely want to give out condolences. I know last week we did a pregame show, but we forgot to mention. Definitely want to send our condolences to Olivia Peters. That was remember the Shazo Everett
Yeah.
car accident. Couple days before Christmas, and she unfortunately passed away. And then actually a local story here. Obviously I'm here in Richmond, Virginia, and the passing of Anthony Sweat, who is actually Montez Sweat's brother,
Yeah.
was actually killed. Not maybe miles away from here in Richmond. So definitely my condolences out to Montez Sweat and his family as well. So yeah, that was really kind of shocking to hear that story on the news the other day. That he cause think not too far from here, and he unfortunately passed away. But yeah,
I'm
yeah,
definitely really sad.
big time. Yep, yep. So, any final thoughts, closing thoughts for the year of 2021?
Man, it's been a fun ride. We got,
Yeah,
here's 2022. 2022 is going to be definitely busy, not just for me, you, but for us as a team, off the
yeah,
ball network.
yeah,
I've got a lot of things coming down the pipeline that the leadership is working on. Um, I thankfully get to go to shore duty in about 7-8 months, so I don't have to worry about going out to sea anymore.
yeah,
Um, After obviously I have a few more this year, but after that I'm ready to go. Ready to hit the ground running in 2022.
yeah. Yeah, what's yeah, same here. Like me just wrapping up, doing some finishing touches for the year. I think will be the final show that I'll be doing this year. And hit the ball back running on Saturday. So so yeah, like you said, 2022 is gonna be a good year. Definitely what we built here. We're 33 episodes in,
Yeah,
and and we're getting great feedback from our fellow Washington football community. So that's always a good thing. Been having good guests. The brand is going to definitely expand a lot more in 2022.
yeah,
We definitely got some people that's really we're part of the Washington football team pod directory. So we're part of that. So that's a was a great accomplishment to kind of get under our belt this year, especially being the newcomers on the scene as far as
yeah,
from the Washington football team podcast perspective. But we definitely have created a niche, um, you know, for for this for our environment and also for
yeah,
off the ball network as well. I think we're like one of the as far as the NFL team, we're the first NFL team centric podcast on the network. So that's
yeah,
kind of that's something very pioneering, and love the fact that we're carrying that torch with that. And like you said, the season may not have been the way that we envisioned, but we come in here week in and week out. Some weeks are tougher than others.
that's for sure.
Like I don't know how, bro. You thought Brian Mitchell was mad Saturday? I mean Sunday, bro. If we would have did, I really thought about doing a post game with our guy Wole and the Urban Sports
Yeah,
Scene with all burgundy everything. I thought because he was, he always have a thing where you can send a link and anybody can join. I was like, no, I'm taking my tail to bed. I need to sleep this off because like I'm gonna say some stuff that's gonna just piss people off, and it's just because you cannot lose by 42 points in the National Football League.
right.
You just can't. This ain't college football where there's a discrepancy in talent. There's no separation. They're all professional athletes.
Yep.
So yeah, but yeah. And also social media and upcoming projects. What you got?
You already know you can find me FNC Pod on Twitter, Football and Chill Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. I don't have anything. I don't know if we're gonna bring back Cruise Island on Wednesday or not. I gotta see what my schedule is looking like with work, and we're hitting a busy point. So I'll probably make a decision probably Saturday. So I'll let you guys know about that.
Yep. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Under Couch Coach Live. We just did the best of 2021 show. You can definitely check that out anywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, you name it, with there. Also, check out our our college football playoff semifinal preview with our guy Zach from the Blue Bloods podcast. Check that out on Couch Coach Live YouTube page, and also check the re-air on Twitter as well. But yeah, and also on the Facebook page as well. You can check out that as well on both of those outlets, and also and check out all our guys at the Off the Ball Network. Everybody's doing their articles, podcasts, and everybody doing their thing. And definitely huge shout out to Bet Us, and also Built Bar. So definitely head over to builtbar.com. Use our promo code Off the Ball. Get yourself 10% off discount. Especially, it's time of the year now, New Year's resolutions.
That's
I know
right.
you want to snack a little healthier. Go to Built Bar, 10% off. And then also Bet US. Definitely hit the promo code Off the Ball in all caps. The fastest payouts, as well as 125% sign up bonus. So you put 100, they gonna give you 125, and
Free
definitely
money.
free money. Like we said, I'm cheap. I know I'm by far probably the cheapest guy in the network. And when you say 125%, you will give me $125 and I got to put 100. All right, bet.
Yeah,
So
and that means you're able to bet $225
correct.
on something. Let's say you. So let's just look at. Well, let me look for an upset real quick while we're on
Yeah,
this. I want people to understand.
exactly. The magnitude of this.
Of course, nothing wants to come up right now. All right, so we're looking at Raiders and Colts right now. Colts are favored by 7. You take the money line plus 250 for the Raiders. You bet $225. That pays out $562.50 on top of the 225 that you pay into. You get almost 800. You get over $800 total,
And you only gonna pay $100.
and you only risk $100.
Exactly. And you can get almost 600 back. Hey,
If you're not betting with Bet US, then you're wrong.
you losing. You're losing. Might as well go and get some bets right here. But hey, if you ain't, that's fine. We got a new year. You good. I just know when the clock hit 2022, you need to be on there for sure.
Yep.
But yeah. But yeah, man. So hey, this we're putting a bow on the watching football guys for 2021. So we're definitely yeah. Uh Post game Sunday.
Post game, yeah. Post game Sunday,
Okay,
absolutely.
post game Sunday. Yeah. So man, we only got a few more days left potentially, you know. But yeah, we'll do the post game Sunday at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, right after our game against the Philadelphia Eagles. And we're gonna say either, hey, it's gonna be a match to determine either first plane ticket to Dallas or Cancun on 3 in New Jersey.
Hey,
And we're gonna go from New Jersey to Cancun or New Jersey to Dallas. So we're gonna figure that. We're gonna definitely figure that out this week. Well, on and on Sunday when we play the Eagles. But yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So once again, this has been this week's Watch the Football Guys podcast, episode 33, and we will catch you guys on Sunday for the post game. And we are out.